This is a Looney Studios podcast. Hello and welcome to Aerde Talks. I'm Hunter Looney, the Game Master, and this show is here to dive deeper into the world of Aerde, which is traversed in Aerde Tales. I'm joined today by Noah, who plays Salvazar, and Leah, who plays Gomorrah. Today we'll be discussing the latest episode of Aerde Tales and some locations around Aerde. Alright, so I'm going to start out with a question for Noah. And you all, if you have any questions for me at any time, you can also ask, and also we can receive questions from people listening too. So this first one, we don't have any of those questions, but alright, so Noah, I know last episode wasn't very intense in terms of action and fighting. You all just talked about what had happened and stuff. And I know you always want to be in the mix of having some kind of fight and stuff like that. So did Salvazar, though, like reminiscing about the past month of adventuring?
Not really.
Like, what would he rather have been doing on Deei's horse ride?
Let's see, pretty much taking care of Barnaby.
Yeah. And currently, though, Barnaby's with Pox, so because y'all couldn't take him to the thing, so he's missing Barnaby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sharpening my tools.
Yeah.
And claws.
Maybe
grooming
playing
myself.
some cards games for money.
And I will say, out of game, the reason we decided to do this was you all had been playing these characters for off and on for 2 years in real world, and just wanted to sum up what you all had done so you wouldn't have just oh hey, here's these people rolling up into town and they're frenemies, maybe closer to friends now. So
Mm-hmm.
So to both of you all, was there anything that you would have rather us spend more time talking about in those? We lightning speeded through everything. So is there anything you all, maybe Dale more, that you all met in Kingsport?
No. He doesn't deserve attention.
Because he tried to sell you just a stick that wasn't even a real wand.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything.
Okay, alright. So you all have a discussion that is coming up pretty, you all are supposed to, that night when you all arrive in that town,
Yep.
have a discussion about some secrets that have been floating between you two. Alright. For each of your characters, not out of character, but each of your characters. So I'll start with Gomorrah. How does Gomorrah feel knowing that Salvazar got some secret letter and then has some other stuff to talk to you about that he's been keeping secret?
I think that Gomorrah is still trying to figure Salvazar out. I think she felt like she was starting to get to know him better, and then that happened. So she's pretty I guess being more cautious around him right now, because she's realizing she doesn't really know much about his background or what he's done or what he's trying to do.
All you know is that he has some next level assassin skills and thieving skills.
Yeah.
And is handy with a blade.
Yeah. I mean, I know the basics of
and
where he came from.
And that he wasn't supposed to use magic or be with anybody,
yeah.
But he's been doing both of those with you.
Other than that, though, I don't really know much at
So,
all. Yeah, and him getting that letter and not wanting to immediately show it to me freaked me out.
So then to bounce it over to Salvazar. So Salvazar hasn't opened up to people. What is out on Salvazar's mind?
I really just wanted to sweep it all under the rug.
He didn't want to have this discussion at all that night.
No.
Come on.
I did not.
he didn't want to get caught, but like you all did perceptions and deception checks and stuff, and she won out and saw some money change hands and whatnot, and saw you get the letter. And
Yeah, he would have just rather me not have seen that, and then I don't think he would have ever told me.
And Gamore's a naturally inquisitive person. She wants all up in your biz.
Yep, just a bit.
So Salazar just wanted to keep it secret.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is Salazar worried about opening up?
Being soft.
He's scared, like to open up, so then he could get hurt.
Yeah.
All right. So speaking of Salazar, I'm going to list all of the weapons that are currently on his person. Okay? A short bow, kunai knives, throwing knives, shurikens, a giant shuriken, hidden blades, a wand, a katana, a dagger, a murder dagger, which is a magical item, and then another magical item, a kunai knife of never miss. That is a lot of weapons on one person. So, why does Salazar feel the need to carry that many weapons?
1, so I don't run out of any. 2, for specific moments.
Like each one has a purpose?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other?
Sometimes just to like deal a lot of damage.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So,
That's pretty much it.
has he thought of selling any of those to have less to carry around?
No.
No. Yeah, I mean, right, yeah. All right. Do you all have any questions peek behind the screen of me? I may or may not answer any. I'm asking this question before we shift to the rest of the topic.
I do not know.
I am wondering, like, what made you want to do this as a podcast?
So, like, we started playing, and we were recording it mainly for the instance of, so I remembered what the heck we did.
Yeah, I remember. That
So
was
then,
how it started.
yeah, and then I was like, well, we are playing so much in this fictional world, and that maybe, like, our friends and family might want to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, what the heck? All of these fantasy worlds and stuff like that, there's not very many out there currently that are very diverse across all different spectrums of diversity. And then, like, also just having, like, a semi-friendly family, like a PG-13-ish level. Mm-hmm. There's ones out there that are adult ones, like Critical Role, Adventure Time, stuff like that. Adventure Zone, not Adventure Time. But wanted it to be where, like, we could share our adventures with people. And if it's just our friends and family, awesome. If more people enjoy it, awesome too. Yep. And it's a creative outlet for the three of us. So, and just to be, like, present, like, inclusivity positively across all different spectrums. So, like, we can't even count more than one hand. Like, let's say, for instance, how many black elves have you seen in any representation?
Outside of Aerde?
Outside of Aerde, yeah.
Okay.
Like, maybe one?
Yeah, I think there was one in Thor: The Dark World that we just watched, but he died pretty quickly.
Yeah. How many people with varying disabilities and stuff like that have you seen in any of these worlds? Like, no. When you're thinking of a fictional world, how do people, when there's magic and stuff, how do people have different disabilities and stuff like that? How do they interact? Where does the poop go as well? Like, when I think when I'm seeing a fictional world, I also go, how do they deal with poop? Is there a magic toilet? Is there an actual, like, indoor plumbing system? All right, sorry.
Have we actually talked about that?
No,
Never.
but it's something
Okay,
that constantly
so-
bothers me.
At first, I didn't know if you were being metaphorical.
No,
Like,
literal
where's
poop.
the poop? And you're like, no, actually, where does the poop go?
Literal poop.
Yeah, well, maybe we need to talk about that.
All right.
Where does the poop go, Hunter?
It's currently around the Renaissance period, so there's some forms of plumbing, but it depends. If you're like in a richer city, not Richard City, in a richer city, they have some kind of plumbing and stuff. There's sewer systems and stuff like that. If you're in a town, there's like wooden things like with a bucket under it, and they take care of your business in there, and then you have to go dispose of that bucket somehow.
So when we stay at like an inn,
If you're in a wealthier city, there's some level of plumbing. So see, random stuff like that, world questions you can have, we can throw them in on these. That's what this is for, is to...
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I want to say also that when we first started playing, and like you said, we were recording it just so you could keep up with what had happened. And then I think you also saw that Noah and I were enjoying it. And especially me, I think we all weren't sure how much I was going to enjoy questing, because it's not something I had ever done before.
Yeah.
Which Noah
questing
either,
is shorthand that we use for when we meet up and play.
Yeah.
And stuff. So.
Yeah, we say questing. But yeah, it only took me like maybe 2 or 3 episodes, and I was just...
You're full on.
Yeah.
And you all, at that point, hadn't even gotten off the island you all got shipwrecked on.
Oh, back in the day when I only had 1 set of dice.
Oh, yes, you are a dice addict.
I have like 22 now.
Oh, God.
Sets.
So this is going to timestamp on how many you have at this current time.
We'll see what it's at a year from now.
All right, so let's talk about some like locations around Aerde, specifically the island continent of Deei that you all are on right now. And it sits at about 14 degrees north of the equator on the planet. It's separated out into 3 countries right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So...
That we know of.
No, this is this one island. You all work for the middle country, which is called Desmodon.
Right.
You all are traveling through the southern country, which is called the United Provinces of Deei.
Right.
D-E-I. D-E. 2 E's. I. Yep.
D-E-E-I.
Yep. And the one country you all aren't very familiar with is the northern part of that island. So that's the country of Duru, which is D-U-R-R-U. And I'm not going to tell you a bunch about it, but it's north of some mountains on that island, and it's pretty big. Like, it's just, all 3 of them are about the same size-ish.
Wait, so the whole continent is Deei.
Yep, it's an island
And how many? There's
that is
countries?
roughly-ish the size of Arizona in the
Okay.
United States.
Okay.
I guesstimated about the area, the land
continent
area.
is
Yeah.
about these are
So all 3 of these countries are split, like it's about a third of Arizona for each of them.
okay.
These are smallish on land mass countries. Like they don't have a lot of, it's not like stretched
Okay,
out very far.
continent is Deei, but
Yep.
it's broken up into 3 countries,
Yep.
which is Desmodon and Duru and what else?
The United Provinces of Deei.
Oh, okay. That was where I got confused, was because I
Yeah.
heard you call a country day and then a continent day, and I was confused.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Duru, you all don't know much about it, besides that it's north of you all. Like your characters, that's all you know of it, pretty
Okay.
much.
Have our characters ever been
Nope.
outside of this continent? I didn't think so.
You know, Salazar lived at the almost the southernmost part of this island, and in the mountains, in a secluded village, his whole life, leading up to about a month ago when he was set out on his Amdala quest, which is like the quest for adulthood. Like, you're sent out to go do assassination contracts and thieving contracts solo.
Right, okay.
So he's lived his entire 18 years in that one city in the surrounding area. We don't know much about, but you were on a ship coming to this island, the same ship that he boarded.
Okay.
That's how much we know of your all's backstory going in.
But our characters might know of other continents.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like your Gamora does know of other continents, but it hasn't come up in conversation. You all are doing your thing. So the middle country
Yeah, we're a little busy here.
is Desmodon, and it's the one you all are currently working for. You are working for the princess of this country. Like, it's ruled by 2 queens, and then their princess, all 3 of which are vampires.
Yeah.
Their princess is like directly working with you all and like doing missions with you all. So you all are working for this country right now.
Yes.
And pretty much I'll give you a little background on this because you all would know this just being in universe, is that this country has universal healthcare, meaning like if somebody got sick and they came into town, there is a doctor there that will heal them either by potions or magic.
You're talking about Desmodon, right?
Desmodon, yeah.
Okay.
The reason being is that there is the I'm looking up because I have the right word for this. There is something called a blood tax in this country. They can either pay their taxes by money or by giving blood to go to blood banks for food. So in this world, syringes and other phlebotomy tools have been invented in this country. Mm-hmm. So vampires don't have to bite people. And it's actually like a faux pas now. And so a person from this country invented that so that this country is like pretty rich from selling these all over the world.
Right.
So people get to choose whether they pay with money or blood. So like also just the regular citizens have gotten pretty rich because they don't have to pay money. They can keep all their money. And and then there was a whole bunch of phlebotomists that were trained to draw blood, so that's a whole nother job thing. And so this country is probably one of the strongest countries in this region because they have so much money, and you all are in like prime shipping locations. That's why you were coming through here, is because this is a shipping hub. All right, and then so the southern country here is that United Provinces of Deei. So this country is split into 5 different provinces, and then they all send representation to the capital. I'm not going to bore you with all the politics of it in this episode because I could get really into it, and I geek out for that kind of stuff, but I'm looking at Leah right now. Leah does not geek out for that.
Nope.
That will be a whole nother episode that you'll have to prep yourself to be geeked out for.
Oh, okay.
But just to go around, there's a port province, there's the Vatten province, which you all are traveling through right now, which has a huge lake on it. There's the Vento province, the Vlek province, and the Vatra province. So you all are in the Vatten one. That's mainly like water and mines and stuff like that. There's also underwater cities in that one. You all never went to any of those like in your travels. I'm a little sad because there's whole underwater cities, but you all also don't breathe underwater, but you could make a potion to do so. But yeah, also on the western side are a bunch of mountains, and in those mountains is this single town called Using. That's where Salazar's from. It is pretty much, if you've seen Kung Fu Panda, how there's like just a little town up in the mountains where they're just self-sufficient up there. That's pretty much where you're from, except it's a horrible place where from birth people are trained to be assassins and thieves. So not a nice place. Like where you could grow up and be a panda and be cool.
Wow.
All right. Any questions about any of these? No? All right. So, that's the end of this episode of Aerde Talks. On the next episode of Aerde Talks, we'll dive deeper into calendar, history, and timeline of Aerde. But now I've got a little housekeeping to do. So, our adventurers encounter magical items, and I want to invite everyone to go to patreon.com/Looney Studios, and there's a link right there where people can submit magical items that they come up with in a Google form. Anybody can do it.
Be nice.
They don't have to
Or
be.
don't be nice.
You don't have to be a Patreon to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You can just submit them. And you can do it anonymously or put your name or username on it to receive credit for it. And please add to this list, because this is one of Noah's favorite in-game activities, is buying and getting new magical items. And just seeing what they do. And while you're there, you can also check out the Looney Studios Patreon, and you can become a patron if you want to gain access to this podcast early, among other perks. And speaking of Patreon, I would like to thank our two patrons, Katrina and Renee. Thank you for supporting Looney Studios and Aerde Tales. And if you watch this episode on YouTube, you might have seen some maps, and those were built using the map making tool Wonder Draft, and I put a link in the description of this video. And Looney Studios can be found at looneystudios.com, and the social media platforms listed in the description. Please give a review on your favorite podcasting site, like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube, and submit some magical items on our Patreon. And the Looney family hopes that you have a wonderful day. That was a Looney Studios podcast.